I want to do this because of the theme, because of the effort put into it, and I love that this is something that you're doing. But my extensive reader mind was like, how good are these books going to be? I read it, I was like, okay, I'm sold. All right, so welcome back to Write Me Poetry Publishing on YouTube. This is nope, nope. Let me do that again. All right, welcome. Today we have William Tracy, who is going to talk again about,
Space wizard science fantasy.
there we go, Space Wizard Science Fantasy. And this is year four. I believe we talked the last time during year one.
Oh, was it? Yeah,
I
it
think
was
it
a
might have
while
been
ago.
one, maybe two, maybe
Maybe
two.
two. Yeah.
Yes, well, I'm very excited to talk to you again today. So
Uh,
good to
Yeah.
see you. I love what you're doing. So tell me about it. Let's remind everybody what this is about.
Yeah, definitely. This is our, as you said, year four.
Yeah.
Sort of amazed we've gotten here already. This is sort of our big push. So I run a small press. I guess is the I should start with. I run a small press, Space Wizard Science Fantasy, and we publish queer science fiction and fantasy, specifically. So lots of queer authors, queer voices, queer books. And every year we do a big crowdfunding campaign, which is sort of acts like pre-orders for the books, gets word out about debut authors and our existing authors and what books they have. You can get any of the new ones, you can get any of our old books. So it's sort of a big drive. We came up with this idea about 4 years ago, and then and it seems to have worked. We funded with about between $17,000 and $18,000 for the past 3 years. And so this year we're trying something slightly different. So this is year four, part one.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, we're actually, and it is oh, it's not on the sign, but we have 7 books. Usually what we do is we put out about a book a month, so it's about 12 books, 12 to 14 books in the campaign. This year we're actually dividing it into two, so we're putting out 7 books in this first half, and what that means is basically you get all your books by the end of the year. So all these books are going to be released by November. And then we're going to have a second campaign. We're actually going to do 3 campaigns this year, but the second campaign, part two, is going to be in November. And that'll be for the next 7 books that are coming in this year from Space Wizard. So, yeah,
That's awesome. That is
that's what we
awesome.
do.
Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Yes.
Speaking
Yeah,
of.
to you as well. Yeah. That's, of course, why we run this in June. Yeah.
Right, exactly, exactly. Oh, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm noticing the book behind you, Isaac. I just
Yes.
started reading that one
Oh, cool.
as a advanced copy. So
Hmm.
this afternoon, I'm actually going to be interviewing Allie as well. And
Yes.
so I'm excited about that to have that author on the show as well. So
Yeah.
we'll be talking about that. And I also remember, just to give a shout out, I read My Heart is Human,
Hmm.
um, author's name. I'm
Reese
drawing a
Hogan.
blank. Reese
Yeah.
Hogan. Yes, yes, yes. Sorry about that, Reese. So I read My Heart is Human and Peace in the Sky as
Mm.
well when those came out. So I really enjoyed both of those. They're on my bookshelf and I highly recommend them. So
Yeah.
remind me, author of Peace in the Sky.
Kay Marsh, and
Okay.
they actually came out. There's a second one if you're interested. It's called Station
Oh,
in the Sky, and that was from last year. We actually republished that one, and now the Station in the Sky includes both Peace in the Sky and Station in the Sky because they're both shorter works. And now you can get both together. They are. I won't spoil anything, but if you've read the first one, the second one is tangentially related,
oh,
and
okay.
I will say it's a murder investigation. If you have
Ooh.
read the first one, it links
Mm-hmm.
back to the premise of the first one. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell me something about what we're publishing this year. What are we looking
Yeah,
at
so
this
this
year?
year, I actually just noticed I don't have the full updated covers in here, but if you go to our campaign that's running, it's on BackerKit. If you search for BackerKit for Space Wizard Science Fantasy, or you search for year four, or just go to Space Wizard Science Fantasy, our website, first link on there will take you there. So we have 7 books coming out this year. The first one is Isaac, which, as you say, it's a great book. It's a novella. This one might our we actually have two copy editors now. We've hired another copy
Oh,
editor, and our new copy editor did this one, and she emailed me after she was done and said, "Well, finish this in about two hours and cried at the end." So I guess
oh
10 out of
wow.
10. Yeah, yeah. It's a really really great poignant book. Very nice story. And it's
Mm.
pretty short. It packs a lot of punch into a novella. So we're actually doing two novellas this time, and this one again, I apologize, this isn't the final cover. Final one looks a lot better than this. But the other novella we're doing is "It's You, Isn't It?" which is these are some of the stories I love to publish. It's like this sort of gonzo space colony book where the it's told partially or fully in second person, sort
Hmm.
of what was it? Like a letter, epistemologically. Anyway,
Got it.
yeah, it's told as sort of recounting events to someone, and you sort of discover what happens. It's this rebellion of sort of these robots or aliens or something with a colony, and you don't really know what's going on. It's by a Greek author who's
Hmm.
published some stuff previously and sent me a couple pitches. This one really stood out, and it's a really interesting sort of those deep sci-fi novels that you like to dig into. But
Yeah.
again, this is also a novella, so packs a lot of punch in a short time. It's a very interesting book. I'm eager to see that one come out.
Oh, that sounds like it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just actually just read a book by Anne Leckie, The Raven Tower. I don't know if you know that one, but it's second person perspective as well. And that's like you're wondering the whole time, who are you and who are you talking to?
Yeah.
I love that perspective.
Yeah, it's very hard to pull off, and I haven't published anything else second person so far. So this is my first one, and I
Okay.
was I was a little bit wary of it when I accepted it. I'm like, no, it works with the story. I had to read through the whole story. I'm like, nope, this is how this should be done. This is how it works. So yeah,
That's
it's a
really
good story.
neat.
It's an interesting mystery. And then up in the top left, also not the final cover, which I just got recently. Um, this one is called Waves Take Your Bones. I am
Huh.
very excited for this. My that same copy editor who is doing Isaac is doing this one, and so she's really enjoying this one. This is high sea adventures with zombies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is like it's got an ace protagonist and a gay protagonist, sort of two viewpoints. This is going to be a trilogy, I think. So this is the first book of it, and it's sort of a Renaissance, medieval Renaissance sort of
Hmm.
culture. Um, Maybe not quite Renaissance, but sort of high naval culture. And there's this horde of zombies, just like you see in horror movies, sort of coming in, and it's got a whole bunch of zombie tropes in there. But it's really nice, and then you get into like high seas adventure and pirates and zombies and stuff in the
Yeah.
later part. So it's a lot of fun. Hello, it's a
Okay,
baby.
she's gonna say hi. Say hi.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness. And the viewer count just went up.
Oh my goodness. Yes, she's a big baby. She likes to be held like a baby. Um,
Yeah, ours are
um
sleeping somewhere. But
I'm just gonna arrange, the child. Here we go.
yes,
There we go.
there
All
we go. Oh my goodness.
good. So okay, high seas adventure,
Yep.
second person robot slash alien, maybe.
Yeah, alien colonists.
And do I
And
see a oh, go ahead.
yeah, so I'm just gonna say the last one here is sort
Mm-hmm.
of our meet cute, which you can tell from the
Okay.
cover.
Yeah.
Um, this one I describe as like Heartstopper, but with magic.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
it's very fun, a very good book. I'm really looking forward to getting this one out. It pretty much, if you've watched or read Heartstopper, very much, very similar. Um, Focuses more on the two main characters. And this one is one person is from a magic world, and there's a portal to our world, and they meet up, and cute, awkward boys, teenage boys, it's a yeah,
Aw,
it's
that's
a nice story.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love the variety that you have.
Yeah, this is a very good year. We've got some really cool stories coming out. Um, let's see, well, that's four of them. We got seven. So the other three we have, just to run
Hmm.
through those, we have two sequels. One, if I guess I don't know if you saw this one, but last year we had Empress of Dust by Alex
Hmm.
Kingsley. It is a post-apocalyptic sort of science fantasy with giant crab monsters and scavenging humans. Great book. So the sequel to that is coming out this year. It's called Relic of Haven. And man, I don't have the cover. Go to the website and look at the
Sure.
cover. It's an amazing cover. It has a giant jellyfish on it. So that's sort of what you're getting into with that one. And that's going to be a continuation of that story. So if you backed the campaign last year, read that one, this one is really nice. The next one is actually I was writing on this before we started today.
Sure.
I am just finishing up the first draft of my second book called Intent Magic, and this is the second
Ooh.
to see if I can get that on the screen without it blowing up. No, there we go.
There we
Physical
go.
Magic is the first one, and
Okay.
this is martial arts magic and
Huh.
fast-moving islands. So it's
Okay.
fleet tectonics where islands like crash into each other in more or less real time.
Huh.
And the people in the world use martial arts magic to protect themselves and call on the
Huh.
gods to sort of keep all this horrible weather from happening because of plate tectonics moving very fast. Um, but
Interesting.
it's a progression fantasy, which I don't know if you're familiar with that or what that
Mm-mm.
is. It's a newer genre. If you've read Cradle or Dungeon Crawler Carl
I
or
Dungeon
heard of
Crawler
those,
Carl, yes. I'm all
yeah,
the way up to date on that one.
yes, that one's good. This one is less like that, more fantasy side, more like
Okay.
Cradle, if you've heard of that one. But it's basically characters keep getting powerful every book. They have some new
Mm.
thing they unlock, some new potential, some new magic. So I'm working on the second one, which is even more fun stuff will happen. I was just writing a big fight scene near the climax. So yeah, that one's going to
Fun.
be a lot of fun. Um, and we just got the cover for that one, which I haven't even updated the final titles on the website, but I will be sending that out very soon to our backers as an update.
Okay.
Um, and let's see. Oh, in the last book that is coming out, we don't have the cover for that one yet, but this is a debut author. It is called A New Beginning. And this is a space opera. It's very much like if you watch Next Generation or Babylon 5, it has that feeling. It's new spaceship, alien species. It starts out with humans that have sort of come into a war that's been going on for 1,000 years, and they manage to push back the aliens when nobody else
Hmm.
has done it. And then there's been peace for like 12 years, and that's when the story starts, is they've got a new ship and they're going out to explore the universe where humans are sort of the second class citizens.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, and it's a lot of
Okay.
it's very much like sci-fi Star Trek sort of adventures. Uh,
Hmm.
so and that one's coming out in November. So that completes our first half, our part one of year four. So,
Gotcha. So that's the lineup. All
yeah.
right. I'm gonna let the cat down now. The fur is all everywhere.
Yes, everywhere. Yep,
Okay. I'm
yep.
back. Hold on. So that's awesome. I love to hear about all seven of those. So, okay, we have a
Let's see.
heartbeat, heartbreak,
It's oh yeah, I
heartstopper.
didn't actually no, it's like Heartstopper. It is actually called Crying Out for Magic is the name of that one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I thought
So
we missed that title, so wanted
yeah,
to make
so
sure.
Crying Out for Magic, it's you, isn't it? Sci-fi Gonzo, Isaac, which is sort of contemporary ace relationship uh, story. Waves Take Your Bones, High Seas with Zombies, and then we have Relic of Haven, which is the futuristic giant crab monsters. Intent Magic, which is my new progression fantasy, and then A New Beginning, which is sci-fi Star Trek sort of adventures. So a whole
I
range.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I'm excited. That's going to be awesome. And so, how do people get involved with the Kickstarter to help with the publishing of these books?
Yeah, so it's actually on BackerKit, which is if you haven't heard of that, it's very similar to Kickstarter. We actually moved the last time I talked to you, we
Oh,
probably were on
sorry.
Kickstarter, but no problem. It's basically the same thing. In fact, if you've backed one of my campaigns before, you already have a login to BackerKit because that's what I used to use for fulfillment. It's a newer crowdfunding platform. I really like it. It's very helpful. The people running it are great. It's really nice for creators to talk with each other and make and form a community. And that's actually something that we're doing this year because they have group collaborations. So you can actually make up a group with people who are running campaigns at the same time, and then
Hmm.
everybody can sort of help promote it for everybody else.
Okay.
So I am part of a, what is it called? It is Pride Parade. So we have four different creators, mine with books, and then the three others are, I think they're all pins actually. So um, if you like pins, queer pins, there's some really cool like historical dragons and pride flags with like different um, monsters and stuff on them. There's like some goth pins. There's really cool stuff in there. So what happens is if you back all four campaigns, then you get something free from each of us. And
Oh, nice.
mine is you get a free audiobook of one of the pre-existing books that I have. And those you get like a special pin or something to if you back them. But also it just helps out, and then everybody can sort of back each other's campaign. They can tell each other about what's going on, and that gets all your followers on BackerKit will see the other campaigns. So it's worked really well. I really like doing that. So if you go to BackerKit and if you search for that Pride Parade, that'll come up. It actually is on, I believe it's on BackerKit's main site. If you just go to BackerKit, let me check just to make sure. Yeah, it has events on the side, and one of them is that Pride Parade, which will go to all of our campaigns. So
Okay.
pretty easy to find, which I also like because Kickstarter has gotten to the point where you have to scroll and scroll to actually find a campaign you want. This one's very easy to find and really brings up the creators that are on there.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
easy with technology to start having that big backlog. You have
yeah.
to, yeah, trim it down every once in a while. It's tricky.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a great crowdfunding platform. Very easy to use, and then they're like I said, I have already used their integration in the back in the past. So the rewards people get from our previous campaigns have already come through BackerKit. All their surveys and stuff are very easy to use. So yeah, I go look at BackerKit and go find our campaigns in the Pride Parade Collective. So there's a bunch of cool stuff going on there. Um, yeah, and we're actually going to have, like I said, three campaigns going on this year. Because I covered two. The second one is the second half of this. In the middle, in September, because I do this to myself, we're actually doing a second campaign for our Lesbians in Space anthology, which came out, is coming out June 24th. It's
Where
just
no man
released.
has gone before.
Yes, that's the one. We got so many great stories for this that we actually broke part of them off into a second anthology.
Hmm.
So that one we're going to run in September, again with a group collaboration of it's called Printopia. It's going to be a lot of different print media, comics and books and everything. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. We've already got most of the stories ready for that. So that's going to be our second collective, and then our third crowdfunding campaign we're running in November, which is part two of Space Wizard. And that's going to be with another collective called the Book Bazaar, which is more publishing fantasy, nonfiction, all sorts of different comics and stuff. Um, so that'll be great if you like books, you like reading. Check that out in September and in November. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming to BackerKit.
Yeah, sounds like it. We'll definitely have to put links down below
Yeah.
for sure to add to that. That's amazing. I'm looking forward to getting on and just exploring the different books and reminding myself of what I need to add to my TBR.
Yes. Yeah, and if you go through ours, we have, like I said, all of our backlog on the campaign. It's actually pretty easy to see if you go to the campaign page and scroll down. I actually have a graphic with all of the books we've put out, which we now have about 50 books out. So we've grown considerably since the
That's
first couple of
amazing.
years. Yeah. So yeah, those are if anything catches your eye. We have all the descriptions on there, and like I said, you can get any of the backlog along with any of the new ones. You can also get Lesbians in Space from this campaign and get your copy of that. Um, yeah, so lots of
All
stuff going
right.
on.
Yeah, sounds like it. So you mentioned the one that's coming up in November. You mentioned a different. Is it a different um, crowdfunding source or is it just a different publishing?
It's a different publishing collective. It's still on BackerKit.
Okay.
So this one is actually we did the one that Lesbians in Space was in last year. Everybody liked that so much that the core members of that wanted to put together their own group to sort of go year after year and really make it a thing. So that's where this came from. So that's where I'm actually doing two of these this year. But they moved it to November, not to interfere with the Printopia that's in September. And then it also has another group of creators that are mostly doing novels and there's some nonfiction, there's some murder mysteries and comics, all sorts of different reading and writing
Yeah.
material. So it was all of us had such a good reaction to the campaign last year that we wanted to do it again. So that's where that came from.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And creators have to come together. We have to support each other and
Yeah,
do what we can to get our content out there.
yeah. Well, it's really fun because we got to do three or four different uh live interviews and stuff when we get all the people running the campaigns on there and we talk about our different books and stuff. So it was a really good made lots of good friends and new acquaintances there. So it's nice and in the back of it you guys get rewards for backing the campaign, but also we get to find new friends and new publishing allies to help spread the word and come up with new ideas.
Right, for sure. It's funny, I the other night I was going to bed and I was like, I don't want to be on my phone screen. I'm going to try to do something on paper, you know. And so
Mhm.
I was like, what do I want to do? And I was just looking at the sheet of paper and I thought, I'll draw something. And so I was like, I'm going to close my eyes and draw a chicken. Okay. And so I started drawing and I opened my eyes and I had like a beak and a little kind of looked like a mohawk. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So I finished the drawing. I ended up making feathers and then I made a face and I was looking at it and I was like, all of a sudden, like quotes started coming to my head about this character and like
Hmm.
how he lived a long life and he learned about, like, it was just this whole thing. And I was like, okay, I was just going to blindly draw a chicken and it turned into
Yeah.
a fantasy story idea. I have a map now. Like, you know, it's
Excellent.
just, that's why I love talking to authors. Just like,
Yeah.
where did it come from? You know, I would love to see this story idea come to life just so I can tell that story.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah. I drew a chicken and now I have a
yeah,
book.
exactly. But
Yeah.
it's funny, I've been listening to sci-fi and fantasy lately. I've been tutoring a little girl who is creating her own fantasy world to turn it into a strategy board game.
Mhm.
Um, and there was something else with, I'm playing the game Split Fiction
Okay.
on PlayStation, which is
Hmm.
very interesting. It's actually about two authors, which I didn't
Oh,
realize in the beginning. But so all of that together, I guess that's where the chicken came from because
yeah.
I just was, I feel like I immerse myself in these worlds and then I feel like there's nothing you can do but create something yourself when you've immersed yourself so much in all of this. So,
Yeah.
but how
That's
do you feel like when you do these campaigns, how does it affect you as an author?
uh one of the things I love about just running this publishing company is being able to put stories out that I can't write.
Mm,
Because like I don't think I've written a second person story, for instance, and this sort of the cozy sort of relationship with Isaac is not my thing. I just can't get that emotion right. Um, so it's, and the Heartstopper one, I don't know, I might maybe could take a stab at something like that, but also the author here has a really unique voice and it's just so it's fun to read. So it's what I get these stories and I see something that I couldn't do or I don't have the time to do as one writer, and I can sort of get their voice out. So that's what I really love to do with these campaigns, and I've started to lean into it more with making sure everybody's ready before the campaign and all the authors are there to help out and um, it's a good way to get new authors sort of into how to be a writer and how to connect with other people, how to sell your book also, and just how to be in that community because the sci-fi and fantasy community is actually fairly small, especially writer wise. If you go to like one of the big Worldcon or the Nebulas or something like that, It's fairly small. Even the
Hmm.
big traditional published sci-fi fantasy authors, there's 5,000 or something like that. There's not a lot compared to like contemporary or romance or mystery or some of the big genres like that.
I've never
Um,
thought about that. That's interesting.
yeah, it's funny because also we're we're getting to the point as a publishing company where me and my authors, as chances are one of us knows somebody. Um, because so for Lesbians in Space, for instance, we were in Glasgow, Scotland for Worldcon last year. And my J.S. Fields, one of my authors, and I were both there, and both of us have a lot of connections. So while we were at Worldcon, we managed to talk to Mary Robinette Kowal, Shauna Maguire, Travis Baldree, and Emma Newman, who are all Hugo Award-winning and, and nominated authors there because we all had connections with them and got asked them if they would write stories for Lesbians in Space. So
Nice.
so just from us, the two of us having connections, we're able to, connect with those authors and say, hey, do you want to be a part of our anthology? So it's getting to the point where we have enough authors that we can actually, reach out and get wider influence from it, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, I'm excited about that. I just thinking about who comes to mind is N.K. Jemisin because she
Mm,
won the Hugo Award
yeah.
3 years in a row
Yes.
for a trilogy. So every year she published a book, it got the award, and that's just fantastic. And speaking of, writing from a unique perspective, I think she absolutely conquered that in her books as well.
Right. And that has second person in it as well. Because the Broken Earth trilogy switches
Yes.
between, I think, third person and second person. And
Mm-hmm.
really good books. Yeah. Um, yeah, absolutely deserve that win as well. Um, those were, yeah, really good books. I would,
Yeah.
love to have somebody like that write for us as well. But we do have some, Mary Robert Kowal is excellent. She's been head of SIFWA before. She's done a whole lot of outreach, and her Lady Astronaut series is amazing. So
Really.
yeah.
I as a young adult, I guess sort of still a young adult, but as a young adult, I collected the Newbery Medal
Mm,
award-winning books. I
mm,
tried to collect them. I didn't get the whole, but now I'm really thinking, should I start with Hugo and Nebula? Is that what I would?
yeah.
I'd probably lean more toward that now because
I
those are
am I
fantastic.
am just finishing up my Hugo reading for this year. I try to read all the nominees every year, at least
Really?
for the stories. I read the short stories, the novellas, novelettes, and novels. Which just basically starting from like May, I just churn through all of them. Because if you're a Hugo or if you're a Worldcon member, they will send you a packet that usually has a lot of those stories for free as sort of ARC readers. And
Wow.
make sure to leave a review for them. But also that helps you can vote on them. So you get the books to help vote on them. So I go through all those and I have two more novels to finish up, but I'm almost done with those.
Oh, I'm jealous of all the stories you have in your head.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot in there. Uh, I have people ask me where I get my ideas, and I'm like, no, the problem is just getting the ideas out. I have plenty of ideas. It's,
Yes.
actually getting them onto paper and in practice. Uh, but I will say, I guess if there's any aspiring writers, watching, um, what usually happens is the strange and or the um, shoot, now what's it called? The strange in the common, basically. It's the I can't remember the word exactly, but you take something that is like common or everyday, and you take something that's strange or unusual, and you put them together,
Mm.
and that often becomes a basis for a story. Um,
Hmm.
for instance, I took for physical magic, that series that I'm working on now. I was reading a book on the evolution of Earth and life and how the plate tectonics had changed around, and that's what gave me the idea. Was like, okay, plate tectonics is really cool for me. I like it.
It
It's
is
very
for
nerdy.
me too,
Yeah,
actually. I was going to say
it
that earlier. I love it.
yeah. There's a lot of anyway. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff with that. This is like a coffee table book that I literally read through. Um, but I took that and I was like, okay, what if you do that, but it's like sped up 500 times as fast?
That's
So
fun.
what happens? And then the other half of that was like, well, let's do magic, but what if like Tai Chi sort of martial arts created magic, and
Mm.
you know, tie those different things together, uh, and sort of where the story sprang from.
Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing different world builds and different magic systems. Where does
Mhm.
the magic come from? It's really fascinating to see how everybody creates that, and decides where the power comes from.
Yeah, and this one in particular, oh, I don't know why I did this to myself, but with the original idea for the book was the main people in there have their gods, their group of like 8 gods that give them different types of magic. Except then I started writing and see if I can get this up on the screen again. The right here, there's this little eldritch
Oh yeah.
octopus in the book. I hold it
Uh-huh.
up again.
Little bitty
Um,
one. Yeah.
so there was another species in there of these little octopi sort of things. And I'm like, well, they have to have their own gods. So I put another system of gods in there. And then the second book, I have like, well, no, actually, in the first book, I have another invading species, sort of like turtles that now they have their gods. And then there's like 3 more species in this book. So I keep adding to them and keep having to create other magic systems to tie into the ones we have. So yeah, I do this to myself. But
Understood. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's really funny. I'm working with this little girl as she creates her stories, and she's making a board game, and we're talking about the rules, and okay, if
mm,
I roll the die, I go this far and then I reach the merchant, and
mm,
she's like, "Ooh, but what if you can steal resources from other players?" I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's write
yeah,
that down, but let's make sure this works first, because it's like you said, there's so many ideas and it's like getting them down and getting them organized and making it work. That's
yeah,
the really trying part of it."
yeah, it is. And I'm also this is the first series that I'm doing that's going to be, I'm guessing, like somewhere around 8 books, 5 to 8 books. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's very different plotting that sort of series versus I've done 2 trilogies and a couple standalones before, but I haven't plotted out something that I want to be like large from the beginning.
Mhm.
And it's very different because I can think in terms of a novel and the structure with that, and then I can think in terms of a trilogy and sort of the overall structure with that. But what I'm having to do with this one is sort of leave little hooks and things in the first and second books that I haven't developed with
Mhm.
world building, which sort of bugs me because I like to do a lot of world building, but I sort of throw them in there because I know I need, stuff to build on in later books that I haven't gotten to because I haven't written those stories yet. And if you like Dungeon Crawler Carl and that sort of stuff, you look at that, there's little tidbits of information in there that doesn't really come out until the third or the fourth book.
Right.
Uh, so it's really a different way of thinking about world building and how you put stuff together, how you put stories together.
It's very interesting because my writing so far has been, or my published writing has been poetry.
Mhm.
And even in that, I had the idea for an 8 book series. And as I put it together, I wanted structure. So I had 8 sectors and it was very defined.
Mhm.
But for each poem, I was like, okay, I want to do sequels. And so I'll have a poem in the first book. The second book, that same spot in the book is a sequel to the poem in the first book.
Yeah.
But even with that, like I was thinking as I was putting that together, I was trying to write book 2, which is in editing right now, and I realized I couldn't just write the second one. I needed the whole
Hmm.
sequel so that I knew, that I was going the right direction with it. And I was like, I cannot imagine somebody writing a fantasy or sci-fi story trying to write just book 2, knowing there's like so much more
Yeah.
coming. How do you keep up with all of that?
Yeah. Well, the answer is I have an outline document that is like this long
Yeah.
that I keep adding stuff to, and I keep having like, oh, flesh this out later. I actually have a lot of like the magic system and stuff is pretty fleshed out actually for even far out into the end of the books, but I know I don't need it yet, so I can sort of give hints of what might happen in the
Oh, that's
future.
great.
But I don't have to lock it down quite as much as I do with like a trilogy or a single book where I actually have to write the outline and have it resolve and make sense to that plot. I can leave it just a little bit and sort of let people wonder about it, um,
Right.
which is interesting and not the way I usually outline, and it's sort of freeing because I'm like, yeah, there's just some stuff in here, and I'll leave it for later. Uh, yeah, this yeah, not what I usually do.
Interesting. It's always cool to try a new method and see how it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. Okay, one more hello.
oh,
Where
please,
where
eat
should we
it,
go?
baby.
Hey. Yeah.
What's
Hello.
her what's her name?
This is Leela.
The
All right, you tell. Oh my goodness. Okay, so all right, we're at year four, part one of Space Wizard Science Fantasy. Did I say it right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I always have Space Wizard. I know that part.
That's the easy
So you
part.
got that part. Um, and we have either queer authors, queer characters, queer themes, or all
Yes.
included in each book,
Yeah,
right?
a little bit of everything. So yeah, everything at least has queer characters. I do have a couple of my token white males that I
Yeah.
publish books for. Um, but yeah, almost all of my authors are queer as well. But pretty much all my books have queer themes in them. Some of the earlier ones don't have as much as the later ones. Um, but I guess I can also give you a hint for part two, which is coming
Sure.
out in November. So that one is going to have quite a few sequels in it. So if you've
Hmm.
backed the last couple years, we have the sequel to The Rosewood Penny, which came out last year, is by J.S. Fields. That one is very popular, sort of a romantic-y, fluffy fantasy with a bandit and a princess who knows too much about her and a magical comb and an island with wild pegasi and um, just it's fun. So the sequel to that is coming out, and then we also have the sequel to Tavern Tale, which released in January of this year, which has also been selling really, really well. I actually just we did a couple of conventions that I just sold out. The first time I've
Wow.
one of the first times I've just sold out completely of a book. So I just got 20 in today, actually. Um, but that is sort of D&D adjacent, and it's sort of like a side quest with a chest with a sort of sultry bartender and a healer who's lost her talisman, and they go off on a side quest to find out what's happened. It's a nice, cozy sort of adventure tale. So we're gonna have the second one of that coming out next year. And then we're also going to have, actually, we have a lot of sequels. We're going to have the third book in the Slayer's Magic series, which is a young adult series. The first one of those came out March last year, and then the second one came out March this year. That is a world where magic is hereditary. So like you have
Hmm.
to know who your ancestors are to learn the magic. And it's about a girl who's been adopted. So she doesn't
Oh.
have magic. And there she's trying to find out who her parents are. You know, she also has a good adopted family. She's also wondering about her birth parents. And there's a magical library that is where they keep like all the ancestral records and everything. So the first book is all about her getting into the library and trying to find it and trying to get a job at the library. And then the second book is sort of um, bad things are happening to the library and they're trying to figure out what. So the third book of that is coming out next year. So that's going to finish up that
Hmm.
trilogy. Really fun young adult. Sort of give it as a good Harry Potter alternative because we don't do Harry Potter anymore because of things.
Issues.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Understood.
if you liked that, try the Slayer's Magic.
Got it. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. And let's see, we have two more sequels that are coming out, and then a couple new ones. So we also have the sequel to Space Station X, which came out last year. That is so good. It is lesbian comedy horror on a space station. Uh, and if you like
What a
Gideon the
combo.
Ninth, yeah, if you read Gideon the Ninth or that series, it's a little bit more sci-fi, but in that same sort of genre. Very sapphic, grumpy engineer and a security chief who like won't leave her alone, but it's also got some horror in it, psychological horror. Uh,
Mm.
the author can actually write a jump scare in a book,
Wow.
which yeah,
That's
it's
fascinating.
it's very good. But the second one of those is coming out, which is going to be even weirder than the first one. I actually have it in the manuscript and I haven't read it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to reading it.
And
So
we
that'll be
definitely
coming out
mean
next
weird
year.
in a good way on this
Oh
channel.
yeah, yeah, weird in a good way. And then we're also going to have the sequel to Talio's Codex, which was a male romance-ish sort of cozy romance um, book that came out last year. It's got sort of alternate Venice architecture with water-based magic,
Hmm.
and it is a legal drama. Uh,
Huh.
so it's the main character is a debarred lawyer basically, who's trying to
Hmm.
regain his title. And it's a male pairing, really good. So the second one is coming out. That's going to be Talia Rosa and the Elixir of Life, which is going to lean more into the magic side of it.
Okay.
So very much looking to that. We have two more. So we have two completely new ones. Uh, First one is called Corruption. This is a by a Dutch author who I've known for a while. It's a great writer. So it's a bisexual young man. It's a YA sort of fantasy. It's a world where there's a bunch of little insular islands in a sea of lava, and
Ooh.
they have to use magic to like transport between islands. So the magic goes out, and the protagonist is dealing with that and with he's got a relationship with a man with a friend of his, a male friend of his, and also is looking for a relationship with a female friend, and so there's that sort of tension that's coming in. Um, so that one's really fun. So looking forward to that one. I also have the manuscript of that, which I need to read over again. And then the last one that's coming out, so looking forward to this. It's called Mothball Magic. It is like the Golden Girls meets the Dresden Files. So
Fun.
yeah, so wizards and urban fantasy, fae and fairies, and four geriatric people trying to save the world.
Oh,
Uh,
I love it.
it's a lot of fun.
I love it. That's going to be a lot of fun. And when are those coming out? When is that?
So that one is starting in November, and then the
Right.
first book I think will come out right after that in December.
Okay.
So if you sign up for this one for part one, you'll definitely get all sorts of notifications about when part two is starting. But also if you go to Space Wizard, we'll have whatever the latest campaign is up. But yeah, this year is going to be a busy one. Um, it's I think it'll be a little bit better though, because like I said, part one, you'll get all your books by the end of the year, and then you can go back part two and then get all your books. One of the things you can do in the campaign is get a subscription so you get every book as it comes out. So this one just helps fulfill it a little bit earlier. It's also a little bit cheaper. You don't have to buy a whole year's worth of books. You buy half a year, and then you have you either have a TBR pile or you finished up your books in time for the next one to come out.
Right. So I can tell myself if I subscribe, I don't have to go to the bookstore.
Ever, really. Just
Right. Right. Because no, I'll never, of course, I'll pass right by Barnes and Noble. I won't even go in.
yeah.
Not at all. But that's awesome though. I love the idea of the subscription. You
hmm
just send me the books. I want all the
Yep.
books.
And we have a lot of
Yeah.
returning backers. We have people who've been with us since the first year. So I love that they're coming back and finding new books and new authors. And you can get an ebook subscription or a paperback. So a lot of them just get ebooks, and then you just basically get the book in your
Hmm.
mailbox every month. And you get as people who back the campaign get them pre-release, so they get to read
Oh,
them
that's
before they.
awesome. Yeah, I love that. I know when I first um when I was first a backer, I said, I want to do this because of the theme, because of the effort put into it. And I love that this is something that you're doing. But, my extensive reader mind was like, how good are these books going to be? I read it. I was like, okay, I'm sold. When I was first a backer, I said, I want to do this because of the theme, because of the effort put into it. And I love that this is something that you're doing. But, my extensive reader mind was like, how good are these books going to be? I read it. I was like, okay, I'm sold. Like I mean, My Heart is Human.
That
just
is
blew me away.
that's an amazing book. Yeah.
Yeah, I could not speak enough. I actually sent it to at least two or three of my transgender friends just
Oh,
to
great.
say you need you really want to read this.
Yeah.
You're gonna like this. You're gonna relate to it. You're gonna I knew them well enough to know that they would relate to it.
Hmm.
And then Peace in the Sky. It was so short, but it drove such blah, blah, blah. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm excited. It packed a punch, but
Yeah.
it was a punch, but it was like one of those quiet punches,
Yeah.
but deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It's a very
so
deep book. Yeah. The
mhm.
read the second one, honestly. I
Yeah.
think the second one, Station in the Sky, is even better. It has got more of those moments, and you see a lot of what's going on, why the things that went on in the first one happened.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it's definitely a cliffhanger. It's definitely
yeah.
something I was like, I could live with it though. It was one of those
Mhm.
cliffhangers. It was like I understood enough to where I could just read the first one, but I'm really excited there's a second one because I want to know answers now.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say, K. Marsh also has a story in Lesbians in Space. So
Oh, cool. Okay.
if you want to read more of their writing, and
Yeah.
it's similar in idea, is sort of it's got that sort of bittersweet punch to it.
Okay.
So yeah, like you said, I my vision with Space Wizard is I want to publish queer authors, but I also want to publish really good science fiction and fantasy. So this is like
hmm
stuff that you go to Tora or you go to Orbit or Ace or Bane or whatever, and you get a really good book. I want to have that same quality. I'm not just publishing anything that anybody's going to give me. I
Right.
carefully curate these. I do developmental editing on all the books.
Mm.
So I work with all of the authors, and I've been doing editing for like 15 years now, starting from a critique group and critiquing like 25,000 words a week, and just been doing that consistently. And so now I edit all the books that come through me, work with all the authors, especially if they're new authors, if they need any help with voice or anything like that. And in fact, if you are a writer, we have a level on the campaign where you can hire me as a developmental editor. So if you like the Space Wizard books and you like how they are edited and how they are, obviously there's a lot that is coming from the authors, but I do have a hand in all of them. So if you like how they come out, you can back a level that will basically it's good for a year, and you can send me your manuscript of up to 100,000 words, and I will do a developmental edit on it, and you know tell you what I think of it.
That's amazing. That's very good to know.
Yeah.
So there's several ways to get involved, either as a writer or as a reader,
Hmm.
as someone who just wants to support the community, be it the sci-fi community, the LGBTQ plus community. Celebrate Pride Month.
Yeah.
Do this for Pride Month. Here you go. We're giving you
Definitely.
something, a way to wave the pride flag, and also enjoy really, really good stories.
Yeah. And if you're in North Carolina, we are doing four more markets this month in the next 2 weeks. So we're doing Winston-Salem Pride on Saturday. This is what day is that? On the 14th, we're doing a local game store. On the 15th, we're doing Raleigh Pride on the 21st, and also Fayetteville Pride on the 21st. So all those are local to North Carolina. So if you're from there, you might see us at one of those markets.
All right. I love it. I love it. I'm excited. All right. So, any other thoughts on this? Anything else we want to tell everybody?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's really important, especially this year. This
hmm
Pride, support queer creators, um, support independent authors. You know, everything we get from this basically goes back into the books. So this is we've just passed our first stretch goal. So we're at 9,600 right now as of this second. Um, but what that does is we passed our second stretch or our first stretch goal, which is actually paying us. This is one of the first times we're actually
Okay.
paying me and my wife to run the company. And most of that money obviously is just going to go back into it anyway. But this, sets a little bit aside for us So that's one
Good.
other thing this campaign can do is actually turn this into a full job for us, so we can do this full time and really support and lift up marginalized voices. Um, so our second goal, our second stretch goal is going to be a new thing for us. We have a marketing manager that we're trying out to just sort of get the word out and sort of grow our audience. So this is where are at with the company now, is we're trying to branch out just a little bit more to get more eyes on our books, get our authors more opportunities. So that's our second stretch goal. So hopefully we'll hit that and be able to afford some extra marketing.
That's amazing. I love the setup. It's such a great idea. We, we have another.
Oh, he's different, baby.
So it's been amazing talking to you, William, and I am looking forward to not only your book, but all of the books that are coming out. I'll have to peruse the site a little more and uh, see what to what to jump on. I know we
Yeah.
get to choose. There's different levels
Hmm.
of uh, backing. I guess that's the
Yes.
word for that.
Yeah,
There's
different
different
pledge
levels,
levels.
and right, right. And I know last time I did it, it was I got, you know, a few books, or
Hmm.
you could get more books, you could get little things to go with it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
all
We
right,
have a bunch
so
of charms and extra stuff, so you can get one book or three books or five books, or you can get the whole subscription in this case, which is seven books. And we have add-ons where you can add just one more book or one more ebook.
yeah.
We have a lot of people. Occasionally I have a very enthusiastic backer who gets like the entire catalog, just as one book, adding a book at a time. So if you want a whole bunch of books, you could do that too. Pretty
Nice.
much, pretty much any combination.
All right. Sounds
Yeah,
great. Well, thank you so much for coming on Write Me Poetry
yeah,
today. And yeah, everybody get out there and check out this Space Wizard science fantasy.
yes.
I did it.
Year,
All
year
right.
four, part one.
Yes, yes, that's where we'll start, but then we're going to go to lesbians in space and we're going to go on from there.
From part two. Yep.
All right. Awesome.
All
And
right.
part two,
Yeah,
yeah.
great to talk with you.
All right. You too, William.
All right.
Have a great night.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.